Okay, I'm back. Okay, marriage boot camp. Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all now I'm over marriage boot camp. I think I said that at the beginning of the last video. I'm over it. I don't, I'm over it. I am really over it. Michelle and Stu, Michelle and Stu, are realizing that his definition of love and her definition of love are different. Okay, and I think a lot of people understand that in relationships, people have different ways of showing love because they were taught different ways of showing love, right? What they thought was love may have been, like in Michelle's case, somebody hitting on you, right? Stu doesn't have that same definition of love. So what she feels like he doesn't love her because he's not demonstrating what she's used to, forgetting the fact that y'all wasn't raised the same. Y'all didn't have the same upbringing. But what I did notice about everybody in the damn cast is somebody had some trauma in their childhood. I was like, this is how do so many, it's just like, I know why. I was going to say, how do so many people have childhood trauma? I know why. And I'm glad people are. And that's the reason why, like, these types of reality show, even though it's weird, it's weird, but other people can probably watch it and see, like, oh, maybe, and hear something that will help them. Maybe. You know what I'm saying? CeeLo and I forget her name, but she's so cute. They argue, she said, they argued last night, and typically how they resolve arguments is they let it fizzle out, but it doesn't really get fizzled out, and they have to revisit it, and it's worse. A lot of couples are like that, right? Which is crazy because she's able to identify it, but she still does it. You're able to identify something that's not working, but you still continue to do it. Like, what is that about? Because a lot of us do that, right? You know what the problem is, but you continue to do it. And we could, there's so many areas of where that could apply, right? All right, Jocelyn, she's in the room and she's saying she's so ashamed, right? We know that, right? Because the judgment is hard for mothers. We know that in society, right? So she's ashamed, and Stevie's been telling her, I'm going to take her from you. And Ballistic is trying in his way to comfort her. Michelle, Dr. Ish says that he can tell that Michelle's past is affecting her relationship with Stu. And I'm wondering, because Michelle, how old is Michelle? Because I feel like you can't tell somebody how long it takes to get over something, right? But after a while, when do you start to attempt to heal from that to where it's no longer affecting your relationships? Because if you want to be in a relationship and you know that the people that you've dealt with in your past have really hurt you to the point where it's affecting the thing that you want, why aren't you taking steps to, I guess the marriage boot camp is taking steps to heal that. I guess that's part of it, because even Tammy and Waka were saying how that it did help them a bit. So even Jocelyn said it. Hopefully they are doing some help. But Michelle is 49 years old. And your relationships with Dr. Dre and Suge Knight were so long ago. Now, like, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that she should be healed from that, because you can't tell a person how long they need to heal. But what I'm saying is, if you understand that is creating hurdles hurdles to running towards the thing that you want, and you have these hurdles in front of you, what are you doing to knock the hurdles down so you can get to what you want. Because you want to be in a relationship, but you keep self-sabotaging. I think we already identified that with Michelle A. based on what she's demonstrating on this show. She meets with Dr. Ish, and he says, what I see is a woman who's fighting hard to keep it together. Well, what's wrong with that? She says. There's a lot wrong with that. Fighting to keep it together. There's times when we fight ourselves, right? We fight ourselves. When we go against ourselves, we fight ourselves, right? But that shouldn't be a constant state of being that you're fighting yourself. You're fighting to keep yourself together. Because there's something inside of you that wants to break down, right? And you have been taught that you have to be strong, and you're not even allowing yourself to access your God-given emotions. And it's okay. And like he told her, sometimes you just need to lean into the breakdown because the other side is a breakthrough. And you just got to access that and let it go. You can't fight to keep something together because it's asking to be released. Release that shit and break the fuck down. It's okay. It is okay to break down, y'all. I'm sorry, it's okay. Because at the end of it, you are able to see something different. Once you're done processing it, sitting with yourself, thinking about it, journaling, whatever. Okay, I needed that, right? I needed to release that. That's important. They have this activity where they're talking about their childhood trauma. And every one of them, and I'm not going to mention it because I don't want it to trigger anyone, but all of them, Adjoa, Styles, CeeLo, not really. He didn't. If he did, he didn't mention it, I should say. Michelle A, Stu. And Stu, his father died of AIDS. They didn't find him for a couple of days, but he masked his sadness with being funny. Remember how he said at the beginning of the episode how Stu is really funny? But it's like when he started talking about his past, he had a really hard past where he's been kidnapped and held hostage and shit like that. I was like, okay, you would have never known that based on his personality. But Dr. Ish said it's something of saying something about an opposite reaction, where you're experiencing one emotion, but you don't want to access that emotion, so you do the opposite reaction. So when you're sad, you smile. When you're upset, you smile, or you do the opposite. Talking to strangers. Okay. Chosen said he had NFL dreams, and Bianca said she has trust issues. Jocelyn was talking about how her childhood trauma, and what's his name made a joke. Stu made a joke, and they were like, everything's not a joke, Stu, or whatever. And then they show Bianca, and this is where they show Bianca and they show Chose talking on the couch, sitting on the couch talking, still having their dumb problems. And I checked out. That was it. So that's all I have to say about the marriage boot camp. The last episode that I saw, like I said, I was over it. I checked out after a while. So I'm sorry. Sorry, guys, but hopefully we can talk about, and you can tell me, or we can get in the comments and talk about whatever else happened, because I stopped writing and I don't remember. Sorry. Take care of each other. Like, subscribe, and comment. Bye.